So they would just wait till you moved. They wouldn't push you. Some bizarre questions. Any other questions?
Yes.
Can't see what these people.
Can you hear me? Hello. My question is about the legal situation, or if you know any cases or issues where people really get themselves into trouble by doing this stuff.
I don't actually know personally of anyone who has gotten fined or arrested for cell phone jamming or turning TVs off. It's actually interesting. I'm not convinced that, at least in America, using a TV be gone is illegal. If you're on public property and you turn off a TV on private property, because of the way the federal law is constructed, I think that's actually fine because you're not physically entering their space. It's just like light waves, so that's not illegal. Although if you're on private property, of course, they can kick you out. I'm sure somebody has gotten kicked out of, Media Market for turning off TVs. I mean, there's videos on YouTube of people going into Best Buy and they just sit there for an hour and just keep on turning off the TVs. And eventually, someone's going to notice a 15-year-old kid who just keeps smiling and the TV's turned on. It looks very suspicious, but I mean, there's definitely people in the U.S. every once in a while who get in trouble for pirate radio stations or people who blatantly use cell phone jammers in their restaurants or churches or university lecture halls. They need to get fined, but I mean, I haven't heard of a major case where somebody, I mean, it's not a major deal. Usually just get fined and they tell you, give me the cell phone jammer. But there's just not that many of them, so it's very hard to catch someone with a 15-foot radius jammer. I mean, how can you tell that they're having a jammer? You'd have to actually search them.
Okay, thank you.
You have 3 more minutes of questions, so probably 1 or 2 more questions.
Yeah. Back when I was a kid, we used to sneak into the stereo shops and such.
Sorry, the what?
And sneak into stereo shops and turn off the TVs with our own remotes.
Yeah.
But the other thing we used to do was turn up the sound really loud.
Yes.
Have you considered making a TV be loud or something like that?
It's actually interesting. Because we released the code for the TV Be Gone kit open source, people have actually been modifying it, and they're saying, well, I don't want it to be an off or on power switch. I actually want to mute TVs or make them really, really loud or change the channel. So there's actually firmware mods that you can reprogram the kit so that it'll change channels instead, which could be about as funny. So for example, if you were in front of the NBC studio, you could change it to ABC or Fox News. I don't know. So maybe you could find that funny. But yeah, I mean, any kind of troublemaking, I approve of. So yeah, sure. I mean, again, you don't need the TV Be Gone. You can get a universal remote. What's nice about the TV Be Gone is it's very small, so you can hide it in your hand very easily. Okay, one more question.
Yeah. In the Netherlands, we're starting apparently to use RFID cards to get on the trains and the subways. And you can't actually, without the RFID card, you wouldn't be able to get on the subway. On RFID frequency, do you have any idea what the range would be on blocking these things? And do you need to stand next to the reader or 5 meters apart? Or?
I'm pretty ignorant about RFID, especially since there's so many standards. But RFID usually works on such a short level because it's literally you have to power the device in such short range. So I'd say you'd probably have to, unless you if it's a strong jammer which you can build, you probably have to be a couple feet away. But I mean, there's people who have taken the wave bubble and added more and more high-power 5-watt gain stages, so that it works from 100 feet away or 100 meters away. I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't, instead of antennas, you just attach more gain stages. As long as you have a car battery, you're good to go. That's a little suspicious to be in the train station with a car battery. But technically, I can't imagine why you couldn't do this. But that's not to say that. Again, I have very little experience with RFID, so it's not used very much in the U.S., so most people have not used it for that purpose, so I haven't gotten any feedback, whereas I've gotten feedback from people using it with GPS and cell phones and Wi-Fi. Okay. Great. Milan? Great. Well, thanks for all the questions. This was awesome. Thank you. Thank you. one more thing. Sorry. Mitch and I brought like 100 TV Be Gone kits, and we're going to be holding workshops. Hopefully it's going to be mostly Mitch. But we'll be holding workshops in the hacking area in the next couple days. So if you have a couple euros, to pay for the parts, and you want to learn how to solder, you can build your own TV Be Gone and turn off Media Market, and they'll hate us. And the CCC will never be allowed here again. Great. Okay.